Everybody good?
Yeah.
Everybody ready? Ready. Let me know when you're official. Yep, I'm good. Okay. Our treasurer, Leon Birch, is going to take it from here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Leon Birch. I am serving as treasurer for the First Farm Homeowners Association. Just want to give some basic information about our accounts, about some of the projected budgets for the year, those type of things, just kind of keep you guys informed. How we have our accounts handled right now, our management company, AMG, is basically in control of safety. They're basically doing receiving of all payments, and also they're making all payments for us to the different vendors that serve our community. We originally set that up a few months ago because we had our previous treasurer stepped down. We didn't have anybody serving that capacity. And so since we already had AMG doing a few services in our community, we added accounts receivable and payable to the services that they provide as well. We're in the process of revamping that system now. Now that I am serving as treasurer, our hopes are to bring the bulk of the accounting as far as receiving and payments back into the hands of the board, just to provide a little bit more clarity, a little bit more accountability. Currently they're doing it, and the board is doing more of an auditing process. Checking bank statements, making sure that the bank statements are matching up with the general ledger, the income statement, and also the balance report that we get from AMG, and also that matches up with the bank account statements that we get from Wells Fargo. So just trying to keep an eye on everything that's going on. And that's something that we need to talk about as a community as well. We want to know how you guys feel as far as comfort level. Do you feel comfortable having a third party handle everything and then we hold the third party accountable, or do you feel more comfortable having those services done in-house? Okay, so that's something that we'll talk about at some point. But to get to the basics of what we have going on as a community now, as of yesterday, our current account balance is $11,178.92. Okay. Year to date, our deposits are $11,353.25, and the withdrawals are $3,808.72. Okay. Our base operations for the year are going to run around $10,152. Okay, just for base operations of the association. Those base operations are going to include a management fee. That's what we pay AMG on a monthly basis. That fee is $179 per month is the base fee. Okay. They also get a percentage of each assessment collected, and that percentage is $39 per household. So for each household that they're able to collect an assessment from, they get that additional $39, and that fee is collected at the end of each quarter. Okay? Just so they can make sure that all checks and payments that come in are valid and on bounce, those type of things. And then once we get those deposits into our account, then they'll bill us, okay, for receiving that. The other thing that's going to make up our base fees are going to be our bank charge for our accounts is $12 a month. We have postage. That postage includes all of the stamps required to send out assessments, notices for violations, fines for violations. Okay, and we have that budgeted at $100 a month. Okay, copy expenses, that's another expense associated with our management company, and that's budgeted at $10 per month. We have a mail out allotment that's budgeted at $250 a month. Okay, that mail out is a $25 charge per letter that goes out to send a certified fine notice. Okay? So with our services from AMG, they're providing 3 warning letters, That's included in their base 179 charge. Now, once a person gets to a fine notification level, then that's going to be $25 per letter that goes out per fine. So we budgeted $250 for that. Web expense, that's for to support all of the website and communications that you all receive from the board, $25 a month. We also have the camera and the internet fee that's associated with that camera, and that's going to be an expense of $45 a month. We have office supplies budgeted at $5 a month. Electricity that controls for the lights and everything up front is budgeted at $20 a month. And our landscaping fee is budgeted at $200 a month. That's for the maintenance of the front, $90 or maintained every 2 weeks. Plus there's an additional $20 that's being paid to Mr. Home, and that's for keeping the opposite side of our front entrance debris-free. Okay? So that's what makes up our base charges, and then we just bring that over the year. So that's how you get to the $10,152 for the base functions of our association for the year. We are also putting aside $6,000 in legal expenses. Okay? Those legal expenses are going to be set aside to address any litigations we have to go through to collect on fines or related to covenant and bylaw enforcement. Okay? And so, like I said, for a grand total of $16,152, and that's going to be equivalent to us getting 50% of our dues in. So once we get to 50% due payment, we will have essentially covered all our estimated charges for the year, and then we can start applying monies to doing other things that are of interest to the community. Upgrading front entrance, handling detention pond issues, whatever you guys bring to us and say, okay, these are some improvements that we're interested in having in the community, and you'll receive the opportunity to have input on those things through different surveys that will be placed out via email or posted to the website. And also to take suggestions in the suggestion box. The other thing about suggestion box, that is not for outgoing mail. So if you or any of your neighbors, be aware that if you put payments or anything in that box, we will forward them, but then that also is done at an expense to the association. Okay, because then even if you put, you put a postage or whatever on it, then once we mail it out, a lot of times we'll have to do it as a package, and we'll have to put additional postage to that. So just make sure that if you need something that's outgoing, such as a payment, please mail it directly to the management company. Okay. As far as providing financial data to the community, what we want to do is we want to make things as transparent as possible. That's one of the big points that we're trying to go forward as a board with, to make everybody comfortable. So the things that we want to provide to you upon request, and those requests can be made via the website. We want to make sure that you have access to bank statements, the monthly account statements that come out that'll show all the monies we take in, all the monies that go out. And also from AMG, we want you to have access to income reports and also balance statements, just so you have both information from both sources, and you can feel comfortable as far as what's going on with the finances in the community. Okay? We do get additional reports, and if there's information that you want that's not shown in those reports that can be requested, you can contact me and I'll get you the information. Okay? Any quick questions regarding, yes?
So if I need to get a report for 2014 financial statement report for 2014, I can do that via the email, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
2014?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. If you want general information about the accounts, yes. If you want specific information on your personal account, then we will request that through AMG.
Now, just the association's financial statement for 2014, not on my account.
Yes.
The association.
Yes.
All right.
So
There's two things. In your 2015 budget, I noticed you didn't have water. There's yeah, because there's a sprinkler system at the front entrance. It don't go on. I think it's broken. It hasn't been on in years.
No, the sprinkler system does work.
Right.
But we didn't have any water charges that came over, so I did not include any water in that from last year. Because we left that include water in that other place.
Do we have a contract with AMG?
Yes. And it's renewable every year. Every year.
And are you all satisfied with it?
Well, I think that's something that we want to hear from you, or you guys satisfied with it.
And one of our main goals is making homeowners aware of exactly what services AMG are providing. Also making you, giving you the ability to track those services and also give a fair assessment of the services. You know, we want to make more of the information that they provide us available to you. So you can say, okay, yeah, you know, I think AMG is doing a good job and we should continue to go forward with this management company. Or, you know, based on the information that I have and the things that I'm seeing around the community, I'm not, you know, in favor of keeping them. And then, of course, that will be put to a vote to the community and then we'll move forward.
When's the contract up?
It is renewable every year, so it's around the beginning of the fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to respond to her question directly as well, so that everything you said is correct. And in addition to that, ongoing, since we've been working with them, we did ask how we work directly with them. We're working things out. So far, we're happy with the level of service, and they are being effective, and it's given us a higher level of accountability, a way to account for things, track things, and to monitor things. Before that, we did not have a very structured process for that, so it has brought that. And so what we're doing now is kind of ironing out a lot of the kinks that come with a new relationship with them, with our community. And Sean's been doing a great job of that. So they've been very open. So if we ask them for something or we want to change something, something's not handled right, they've been very willing thus far to do that. So, but as he said, it's an ongoing relationship. They're a client of ours, the association, and so we want to get your feedback from it. But so far, so good, and they've been flexible when we need them to be flexible.
And the other vendor that we also have is WCW. That's our law firm that serves our community. That retainer has already been paid for a year. That retainer was charged $1,200, basically $100 a month fee to have that law firm at our disposal. So we need to go forward with any litigation or have any legal questions that come up that involve the association, and we have that resource available to us as well.
And that's what the $6,000 is being put aside for any litigation.
The $6,000 is outside the retainer fee. The retainer is not even included in that. We already paid that, so the $6,000 is strictly for action-based items, things that aren't covered by that retainer. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
As far as AMG, I just wanted to say I had a positive experience with them because someone was continuously parking in front of my house and they took care of it. They sent them a letter and it ended. So,
Thank you for that feedback.
yes.
Yes, sir.
As far as AMG, they actually keep getting my address wrong. So every time I try to send in a payment, they don't know what my address is. And so in the body of the letter, they have my address, but on the mailing address, they keep sending it to somebody else. So for the longest, I haven't been getting any mail from them.
Okay.
So I finally had to call them directly and said, you can't charge me a late fee when you don't have my address correct. In the body of the letter, it shows my address. I need in the body of the letter my address, but my mailing address on the top of the letter is somebody else.
We'll take care of that after the meeting. We'll handle that issue. But I just want to make sure that there are no more treasurer or accounting-based questions. I don't want to take up too much of Sean's time. And if you have anything to take into your account, just let me know. I'll be happy to assist you.
As I mentioned, the agenda board is open to getting people over the financial.
Right.
I think that's something that we need to board is willing to accept that responsibility. But that's it, that's something
Well, there are no, the accounting services are included in the 179% monthly retainer. So we're not paying addition for that. Now, there is some delay as far as clarity. So if we want to know something, then, that we don't automatically get access to, then we do have to, contact AMG, and there is a turnaround time associated with that. But, just want to make sure, let everybody get a feel for it. And then if it's something that is important to the community, and since I am in place, then we can make that adjustment.
All right, so that was the
Or any time during the year, but that service is included. And the fee element. All right, thanks a lot for your attention, guys.
Thanks, appreciate you. So, folks, let me be honest, folks. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm really going to be really on script. So, bear with me if you don't make eye contact with me, because I had a slide, but the slide showed, but unfortunately, the projector is not functioning properly. So, I'm just going to move through some fine points, and you can follow with me on the agenda. Show you keep up this fine. First thing that I want to cover is accomplishments. I know we get a lot of feedback as to the performance of previous boards that the HOA doesn't do enough. Okay, and so this year in 2015 is about change. It's about a lot of upgrades to how we operate. It's about a lot of optimization. It's about a lot of improvements in time and how we function and how we engage you as a community. Okay, so one of the first accomplishments that transpired, of course, on the list, you can see that is security camera repairs. Because of security issue, because it's a sensitive issue involving security, we're not going to tell you we're not going to actually announce to the public that the cameras are on the fritz, because that would basically alert probably the wrong people, and we don't want to do that. But for a week in, I think it was the end of January, the cameras were on the fritz for only a week. We had our repair technician to come in and fix that issue, so that repair took place in February. The cameras, maintenance was completed on the cameras in February, as I just mentioned. The cameras take footage of cars entering and leaving the community, for all those who are unaware. Right now, the cameras are set up to record footage and read license plates of cars coming into the community, but not leaving the community, okay? I've had a conversation with our technician, and he suggested we upgrade the cameras to read plates leaving the community as well, okay? The cost associated, according to him, is about $1,200. We would basically retrofit a second camera that can read license plates in the direction of cars leaving the community. If this is something that the community wants the board to pursue, please let us know, and we'll talk to our technician and get back to you with a finalized estimate if you're interested. Also, to receive footage from the cameras, the request must be associated with a filed police incident. In other words, we're not going to get into the reality show type behavior where I want to see if my wife or my girlfriend, what time she left the community, we're not going to get into that. That's not what the purpose of the cameras is for. So, again, you must have a filed police report. You need to contact the board with information on the police report number as well as the incident. To begin the process, as promised last meeting, a number has been placed on the community website to call. It's on the contact us page. It's been there for a few months. Typically, we are able to get footage going as far back as 72 hours. Okay? What that means to you is that if you have an incident, you must contact us within those 72 hours. It's helpful to have information as far as a window of time, or if you're looking for a particular vehicle, or maybe we can pull a license plate. If you don't have that information, it's understandable. At least give us a window of time, and we can save that footage out And if you got a flash drive, I'll put it on your flash drive personally, and you can go through the footage. Okay, but that is also, you can call it an amenity, but that is a service from the board to the HOA, and that's also what we're paying for our budget.
Is the camera motion sensitive or
It records all the time,
all the time?
all the time.
What,
$1,200.
one question.
Yes.
With the upgrade of the camera system, will it also, is there any, upgrade to the amount of data we maintain?
Yes, we can seek a larger device which contains a, I'm sorry, we can seek a device which contains a larger hard drive, is what I'm saying. So yes, that is feasible. I don't have numbers on that.
Okay, yeah, that's not included.
Right, yes.
Question, I heard you say that to provide the board with the incident number or the police report number.
Yes.
Keep in mind that it takes about 3 to 5 business days to get a police report. So
Yes.
by the time we have to be able to give you a police report, the 72 hours of footage is gone.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. You can notify me within the 72-hour period, and as you're working towards getting the police report, depends on what your investigation requirements are. If the police say we need the footage right away, by all means, I'll give you the footage. That's not a problem. I just wanted understood that the cameras are to be used for that purpose only, which is security. But yeah, I have no problems giving you the footage before you have the police report or the number. Any questions, any other questions involving security cameras? Great.
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
In terms of the camera coming into the community, is there a way, especially for nighttime, to get a better, get some lighting or something? Like, I don't know, once you get started, it's pretty hard.
That actually was a suggestion by the technician, and again, I don't have an estimate for that in particular. We were specifically talking about getting license plate numbers of cars leaving the community. But I mean, all these things are possible. With my administration, it's basically what you guys want as a community. It's not about, it's what you guys want, and we can afford, actually. Let's be clear about that. But, you know, by all means, reach out. If you have suggestions, we got a suggestion box. A lot of you have my personal number. You give me a call, we can talk about it. That's part of what Community Rising is about, which I'll actually go into a little bit later. Any other questions regarding security cameras? Okay. So about speed humps, next thing on the agenda. We passed the speed hump application, okay? Speed humps will be installed per DeKalb County between April and May. Actually, not the speed humps, but they'll start marking the street. Let me be clear about that. They'll start marking the street in April and May. Our application passed with required 108 signatures of homeowners representing 65% of our community. And so I want to say thank you personally to those who signed up for those, and we'll get those that process going and get started April and May. Any questions regarding that? All right, great.
Yes, will the key homes be on the side roads also, or just on?
There is a map on our website. You can check that out. It's been there for almost a year. You can check that out, and it'll tell you exactly where the speed humps are. There are some on there on Secretary Street. Front entrance landscaping and planting. We have a new vendor, Atlantic Landscape. He's going to be contracted to begin the work next week, pending acceptable weather. We were originally scheduled to begin planting last spring day, but as you know, we're experiencing a cold snap. But that is something that has been a priority, and it's going to happen, excuse my expression, come hell or high water, pending weather. So he's going to start with and this is, you know, I'm trying to manage your expectations. He's going to start with the front of the signs. He's going to plant, he's going to bring new soil in, he's going to start with the front of each sign. Okay, this is also a trial basis period with him in which we take a look at his services and we find out if we want to use him more to expand upon that landscaping. But for right now, I've heard your voices and you say we haven't had anything up there in years. So you're going to get something up there. Should be nice. This guy has been in the business for, according to him, since 1985, and he's got a lot of experience working with Atlanta as well, and doing some larger projects. So looking forward to that. It's also a black-owned business, and me personally, I definitely support black-owned businesses. And from what I've seen on his resume and the list of projects he's partaken in, looks pretty good. It's qualified.
Was the landscaping upgrade in your financial budget?
We've already budgeted for that. We actually already made the initial cut and check for the initial payment. So he'll receive $300, and then he'll receive the other $300 for a total of $600 after the project is completed. So that's already been.
And I didn't hear anything in the budget, I'm just thinking about it now, about Christmas decorations. Because we were real skimpy last Christmas, those two little wreaths that were thrown out there.
You're correct. And to be reminded, that budget was for base operations. So once we cover base operations, then the monies that we have above and beyond, we can dedicate to projects. And that's also something that I think Sean has alluded to, that the camera upgrade, that's a project that we can look at once we hit our budget. The detention pond issue is a project that we can look at once we hit our budget. The enhancement above and beyond the landscaping that we have planned up front, we can address that with monies once we hit our budget. We just want to be physically responsible and make sure that we take care of the budget for the year first, and then we can actually see how much discretionary funds we have, and then put out all the projects that have been proposed, hopefully get a lot of feedback, and prioritize based on that feedback. Things that aren't outside of absolute necessity. Some things will come up, but to give people the most we can, as it's prioritized by the community.
Well, I wouldn't mind donating decorations, but if you put it out there on the website, our budget is skimpy, could anyone want to donate? I wouldn't mind donating. But we really need to decorate.
Also with that, that's great, and I thank you for that. I'm part of the Beautification Hospitality Committee. Along with donating, we also need volunteers to put that together. So that's also the reason of the skimpiness of certain things.
Well, on that same note, with the decoration, the subdivision has these assets. Where are they? Now, okay, because there was blow up, Santa Claus and so forth. There was a reindeer that would be up there, and unfortunately, I have no idea where they are.
Let me address that question.
Yeah.
Two things, and I'll come back to this second. But they wore out, simply put, they wore out. And so we made a conscious effort as a board this year, whether to put up shoddy looking crap in the front of the neighborhood, or to just go skimpy and put the tasteful stuff that we had left up. And so that's where we are. And so those things that, if you'd like to see some of the older things, we still have them on hand, but the bulbs are blown, they're shot, they've been exposed to the elements over a period of years, and they weren't worth, they just weren't worth putting back up. So we just made that effort.
And once again, there was just not enough people in enough time to put that stuff up if we were going to even try to do that. That was the other thing. So,
But going forward,
maybe put something out on the website in October or something. And
I don't want to steal Sean's thunder, because part of his community rising that we're going to talk about, which is the bulk of the meeting, encompasses all of that. Bringing a more comprehensive effort where we're getting input and doing things in a way where we're communicating more. And I just want to go back to what your comments, and correct me if I'm wrong, DeLeon, about the budget. The budget that you heard him give, what we did as a board is sit down and say, what does it take to keep our head above water and the bare bones minimum? And if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much the budget that you gave. And because that's really all we are responsible for doing. Everything else is icing on the cake. The icing on the cake comes from when we get an excess of people paying their monthly fees. And so we keep in mind, he said we're at about 50%, or that budget was just 50%, half of the people paying. So that's what drives the fund. So we don't do fundraisers or anything like that. So we appreciate, when someone volunteers like that. But I just wanted to kind of put things in context.
And one last note, we do as a community have a storage unit. In the past, community resources were just stored by different homeowners because we don't have a clubhouse or anything like that to actually store things. So what we did was we actually went out and we have rented storage units. And so all of the items belonging to the association will be in that unit. So as boards turn over, there'll be that central place where supplies will be, so that things are better accounted for.
And right now, that storage unit contains the leftover decorations, some of the leftover items from when we did the spring events and the cookouts, some of the food service items, old documents, and just some general things like extension cords, so forth and so on. So that's pretty much the contents of the storage.
There was also a printer, a file cabinet.
File cabinet is there.
Laptop.
Yeah, those are laptops there. We have no record of a laptop. I don't even know who owns. All our items you see, all of us have our own laptops. So yeah, we have no knowledge of that.
Yeah, and by the way, whenever you see us with laptops, it's not used with your money. We need a projector, obviously, and we should get one, but that's my iPad, my tripod, it's my laptop.
Well, the subdivision did buy a printer and a laptop.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened. I don't know what happened to the laptop. That was way before me, so.
And I've been to enough meetings to know that we understand that there have been in the past discrepancies in old budgets.
Yes.
But we've had a clean budget now, I think, for at least a minimum of a year or two. And so that's all I can represent for the budget for the time that we've served. And that's all public knowledge and public record. So all we, again, like I said, is going right back to community rising. We're trying to rise up and do things in a more positive and definitely, as you can see, transparent way. Where we want you to know everything that's going on. There are no secrets, anything to hide. You want to go look in the storage room, you can look in the storage room. But that's our whole purpose.
Well, I have to commend you guys because this is totally different, opposite direction from where the subdivision was going. It was heading totally downhill, and I like what I see and what I hear so far. So,
Sir, please spread the word then. Everyone, please spread the word.
Yeah. So because we need folks to come in and attend these meetings and understand there has been a change. Because I've walked the community, I've talked to different folks in the community, and a lot of what I hear are comments based off what somebody did like 3 or 4 boards ago, and I wasn't even living here then. So I can't answer those questions. All I can promise you is that I'm going to do the best job I can in service of this community. And like I told some of you when I've been out talking to you, please hold me accountable. Hold us accountable. If you don't like the job that we're doing, I have a phrase that I always say to folks. If you don't like the job Billy is doing, by all means replace them quickly. That means run for a chairship on the board, any position. Right now we've got them, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, but we've got member at large and secretary. We need those positions filled. We need positions concerning our committees filled. There's a lot of things that, again, I'm jumping ahead. This is part of what Community Rising is all about, and I'll get into that later. Let me move forward. The next thing on the agenda is the emergency text alerts. For all those who signed up for that back in October, you were part of the pilot program. And this is, let me read from the script. Last week we completed testing on this program. The emergency text alert is a small program that I've written personally for free, okay, as a service to the community. So it's a donation, it costs you nothing. There is no cost associated to the community for the service. The program utilizes your email addresses that you get for free from your cell phone carriers. A lot of people don't know this, but your phone actually has an email address which consists of the phone number and the domain of the cell phone carrier. And so that's how you're able to tap in and send your phone messages. So let's talk about what an emergency text alert is, okay? It's not going to substitute email, okay? You're still going to get a newsletter. You're still going to be informed with information via email, Okay, it's not gonna replace the newsletter. What a emergency text alert would be is something like, for instance, my neighbor experienced a negative situation with a pushy salesperson. And we don't know if that person was actually a salesperson or not. It could have been just casing the house or seeing what they can see inside the house. So my neighbor informs me, hey, look, something's happening. You need to do something. You need to send something to the rest of the community so that they can be informed. So that when that salesperson comes to your door, you already know what the deal is. So that's, again, that's a service, doesn't cost anything. Something that I brought to the community because I felt there was a need for it. In terms of if you're interested to sign up, one of the advantages of coming to a meeting is that I get to verify that you are indeed part of the community for security purposes. And so when you sign up, when you come to a meeting, you get a chance to sign up. Okay? Folks who couldn't make it, didn't make it, you got to call me or you got to go through the website and I got to come visit you at your house to confirm that you are part of the community before I add your number to the program. Okay, these numbers are hard-coded in. It's not like anybody else can go in and add their information. So that's another security feature. Any questions about that? Yes?
As far as the meetings, was Tuesday chosen for a special reason?
So we had a survey, I think it was a year ago, and out of all, that's another advantage, and I think you're signed up for the newsletter, but that's another advantage of being signed up. You are part of the process of decision making. So last year, we had a survey, and most folks chose Saturday, and the second most chosen day was Tuesday. And so we try to be flexible. And again, this is not written in stone. If we can have another survey, you can vote again, and we can change that day. But of course, when we talk about voting, it's by majority rules. So, but yeah, we're always flexible. We're always open if we want to change days. We might even change our Saturday meetings to 10:30 so that we can have an appropriate time to set up.
Emergency text message. Are you the only one available to send those out, or once everyone sign up? If I see something at my house, crime or something like that, if I'm signed up and I able to send out a text message so everyone else can know, okay, crime is taking place, and get that message.
So for security purposes, it's a closed system, so not just anybody can send a message, and not just anybody can get a message. So what you would be expected to do is, notify either myself or someone on the board and say, hey, and I can give you my personal number. I can give everybody here my personal number. But you contact me and you say, hey, Sean, I see something. I'm going to ask you some questions to make sure it's really a situation because I don't want to just start sending text messages at random or willy-nilly and folks are like, okay, we're getting too much of these, it's time to stop it. But give me a call and say, hey, I see something suspicious, can you notify the community? I'll ask you a series of checkpoint questions. Once you pass the test, it's no problem sending out a text message after, but it's something that I have to do. And I'll train the rest of the board to actually do that. This is my little pet peeve project, and because of other important matters, believe it or not, we didn't have time for me to train the other board members, but it's simple. And I'll be willing to do that and contact not just me, but the other board members as well.
And this also, I'm sure you guys already know this, but it's not a substitution for calling the police.
Yes, please call the police.
Please call the police. It's good to do both.
Yes.
If it's that type of situation, call the police and then also notify one of us, and then we can notify the community, but the police will be there to handle the situation, as it's happening. But it's definitely a way to communicate, but always utilize county services.
I would like to add on to that, with your cameras, if you can safely record the incident, make sure that if you take photos or record, make sure it is at a safe distance. I've done it. I've seen cars that I wasn't too sure about, and I just went on there and recorded, found out that the neighbor knew them. But if you see anything suspicious, please safely record so we have some type of proof to present to the police.
Well, for those who don't know, I'm a deputy with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. I've been in the subdivision for 10 years. I don't mind responding to something if I'm at home. So, we can always call 911, but I Cal PD to stay on the same street that I stay on. These are the kind of people we probably need to see that know something on.
So one of the ideas in community rising is a suggestion to actually have a civics organization in the community. I am privy to conversations with a lot of other HOA presidents, in particular, I think parts of Stonecrest, they actually have a civics organization. And they have, the community has paid for a vehicle. And they, I guess they have assigned folks who ride around in that truck and they patrol the neighborhood. That is not beyond our reach. We just need folks to get involved, and I want to talk to you after this meeting because I think that that's a possibility for our community, definitely. Yes, sir.
Could we, extend the text to the police officers in the neighborhood? I mean, we don't want to open it up too broad, but, there are 3 police officers that live in our neighborhood. Could we allow them to be trained on that?
That would be a function of, to answer the question, yes, directly. But there would have to be, that's a function that would come from, let's say, a neighborhood watch in the city's organization. We have a neighborhood watch, which requires volunteers, by the way, but we haven't established that civics organization. So once we get to that point, of course, I don't see any reason why they would not be able to have access to the program to send out texts, by all means. Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned that he's willing to respond to something, any emergency. How are we going to contact you personally if you want to do that?
How?
Yeah. So then, are you willing to get it to the board, put it on the website?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He was going to talk to him afterwards. We're not going to let that go away.
Right. If I say to anybody,
thank you very much.
Stay and talk to me, because we really have this room beyond the time that's on the agenda. We can have this room rather beyond the time that's on the agenda. So if I tell you to stay after the meeting, that's to sign up, that's to exchange information. All right, I'm going to move forward in respect for time. This is a small addition. My daughter actually helped me with this project. So our covenants are in PDF format, accessible via download from our website, but it's an image. And with the PDF image, you can't utilize the aspects of PDF documents that allow you to search, okay? So my daughter has volunteered to retype all of the covenants, okay? I think it's like 16 pages. Okay, so these covenants will now be searchable. So if you want to know about a specific issue, you don't have to go scrolling through pages. You can simply do a find, type in the keyword that you're interested in, and Acrobat will take you directly to that section in the covenants. Okay, this allows you the convenience of easy reading, getting right to the point, and makes it easier for you to also consume and understand the covenants as they are today. And as a side note, the covenants, we've had those same covenants since the community has been established, okay? This administration is dedicated to community improvement. I said before, if you don't like what's in the covenants, we can change that. This is our community. We can change what's in the covenants. Okay, there's a process for that. It's not just, okay, just changes and but to make the long story short, think about that. Think about what you want to see a little different in the covenant. Right now, that's what we got on record. Legally, that's what we follow. And legally, that's what we're going to enforce. What I need is for the community to step up and say, we want some of this stuff changed or improved. For instance, right now, we don't have much to address the amount of renters in our community. There's really nothing in there except they have to submit an updated lease every 6 months, okay? One of the priorities in the administration, this administration, is to get the number of renters under control. And the renters that we do have, to give them proper representation. We're homeowners, okay? They're renters. I don't know how they might feel because, quite frankly, they don't really have too much of a relationship with the board. They don't vote because they're renters. they probably don't pay homeowners association dues. They don't have much of a vested interest. My goal is to engage renters, especially those who are abiding by our covenants as though they're owners and we live here, and to get them proper representation so that they can communicate with us comfortably and we can make it comfortable for them to be here, provided they are following the covenants. That's pretty important. We said, well, it's too many renters. But guess what? If there weren't any renters, those homes would be vacant. I don't want any vacant homes. I think we got one or two that I really don't like the fact that they're there. So I'd rather see renters, and I'd rather see an improved relationship between the board, the community, and renters, especially if they're following the covenants. Yes, sir.
What about the empty house on there? It's up for sale, they got swatters in there.
They have what?
They have some swatters in there.
Okay, so that's a code violation. Did you contact the Cannon County Police?
No, I didn't know about it till late, you know, it was
Okay.
squatted there. Cause I can't see up and down the street.
You mean the one down at the hill, at the bottom of the hill?
Yeah.
It was incident, that's why.
Yeah, it was an incident. So yeah, just because we want to keep moving through to put it in context, the police made us aware of that as well too. And I don't know if it was squatters as much as what the police, and that's the incident that Sean put out on the website. The house was being used as a stash house, and so they were breaking into homes and putting the items into their home. And so detectives came, and so the police are doing good work out there because we're being more vigilant, and that's how we found out that's what they were doing. They wait for folks to go to work, break into the house, put the property in there, come back later, get the property out of that vacant house. But that's why we're trying to be more vigilant about monitoring the community and what's going on, and I think we're going in the right direction with that. But I just wanted to put that in context. And like he said, small improvements like that, we're looking at the covenants and making sure that we get your feedback on it. Because we're trying to just, again, improve everything we can and make it function more smoothly. So even the little thing like he mentioned with having the PDF of the covenants, when we came on as a board, we were a little shocked to find out that there were only printed copies of the covenant. There wasn't even an electronic version of it. So small steps is kind of what we're taking, understanding that we got bigger goals and things we want to accomplish.
Also, those trees I've been complaining about, I can't see them down the street. I can't see what was going on down the street where the swatter was.
And to address that directly, that is on our list, and I know we've been telling you that, but understanding that, as you see, this is really our first meeting as a new board, and so that is on our list, but we had to get all these other small things, the money in order, what do we have, what's the priorities, and what do we need to do to keep functioning, get all of that straight, but we're aware of that. I got an email from Sean last week, and actually that's been assigned to be my project to work and engage that homeowner. But understand it's a very delicate situation. You just can't walk on somebody's house and say, hey man, cut it. So we have to approach it in a legal, hospitable, let's try to keep down as much conflict as possible manner that is aligned with the law and with what the covenants say. But we are aware and we're going to address that. It is on our near radar to engage that homeowner and let them know that you're out of compliance. But the main thing is we got to know specifically what he's out of compliance with. So that's what he's saying about the covenants, because if the wording in here says that he's only one tree out of violation, that's the only thing we can bother him about is that one tree that's within whatever this document says. And so that's where we are with it now, and we'll make sure we follow up and keep you aware of what we're addressing.
Okay, but what about speeding? People not respecting you when you try to back out your driveway. People speed down through there. They running anywhere 50 miles an hour.
We hoping the speed humps will take care of that. That's the whole.
I'm saying right now, what can you do about it now?
You can't do anything about it right now.
I just look at them crazy, slow down, and you're right. It happens every day around that curve, and only thing now is you can do the regular things that's within the law. Call the police, give them a little funny look. I just stop and just and kind of flash the lights sometimes, but understanding that you got to be careful. Also, all we got is within the laws. Maybe I ask the deputy here, do you have anything to say about that as far as speeders in the neighborhood or addressing that?
A lot of time with the speeding, we have to see the speeding there. Before writing somebody a citation that we don't have a way of pacing them.
Right.
You know, a way of clocking their speed is hard.
So that's why we're praying for those speed humps to come and address that, and in the meantime, you just have people that's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Back to the runners, if there's a committee, I'll be glad to join that committee to draft the language to modify the bylaws.
Come on in, brother. You're more than welcome. Again, see me after the meeting. We'll talk about that. Any other questions regarding that? And by the way, I want you to understand something. A lot of you saw me collecting signatures for the petition for the speed humps, and I got the opportunity to talk to a lot of people. I want to assure you, whatever problem you brought to my attention back then, it is being addressed, it is on the agenda. As DeMarco mentioned, I think the holdup behind that issue being addressed in former boards was the legality behind the covenants. What's in the covenants, what can we enforce, what can we not enforce. So there's a lot of clarity issues that I think we have in the covenants as far as, I think they're just a little bit too general in certain areas. That is something that we can change as a community.
Bottom line, the covenants are old, outdated,
Yeah.
haven't been updated, don't address the problems in our neighborhood. So we got to go through it piece by piece and get your feedback and update it to fit the problems that's really happening in our community.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, we're bound by this until that time.
I'm going to move forward with respect to time. Next thing on the list for conference is all community meetings are now recorded. That's what that iPad is doing right now. As I promised to many members of our community, again, all community meetings will be recorded and made available on the internet by request. So you go to the same contact form, you make a request, and I will send you a link maybe within 24 to 48 hours. Again, simply use the contact form at Fairingtonfarms.com and submit your request. You'll receive a link to review the video. This is not a supplement for repeatedly not showing up at meetings. Okay, I want to stress that. Every community meeting moving forward in 2015 will have a discussion on drafted policy, which most of you are holding in your hand now concerning the fines. Okay. If you are not here, you will not have input in policy which ultimately affects you, and that's unfortunate. As always, it is best to attend meetings and make your voice heard. Speaking to those who see this video on camera and are not here. Any questions involving that?
Please spread the word on that too as well.
Yes. Regarding spreading the word, we got a big green button on our website that says sign up for the newsletter. That newsletter is, well, let's put it like this. I take care of community communication. I've done so for 5 years. We've had the newsletter for about, I think, 3 or 4 years. I think communication and engagement with you is important because you let us know how we're doing and what we should be doing moving forward. If folks aren't signed up for the newsletter, you're missing out. You're missing out. And if you're not coming to the meetings, you're missing out. That's all I can say. That's all I can stress. I'm going to move forward to goals. I'm sorry, you got a question?
I was getting the newsletters, but I haven't in a while.
I think I emailed you. What's your first and last name?
Stephanie Lindsay.
Okay.
And my email's Onyx Lindsay.
Yes, yes. So you hit the unsubscribe button evidently by accident on one of your emails.
Okay.
And Constant Contact is not allowing you to add your email back because that was done. So what you have to do is subscribe.
to the email again.
So go on the website and.
You know, well, yeah, actually, yes, go on the website, click the big green button, sign up again.
Okay.
And you can do the same email address even, and Constant Contact will unlock your email address, and then I can send you the newsletter.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we move out of accomplishments and on to 2015 goals? Great. So, we're going to talk about a little bit about Project Community Rising. And that's something that you are holding in your hand. You can take and review a little bit now and take it home and read it later. The document is going to be accessible on the internet come Monday. So let me get into that a little bit. Project Community Rising is quite frankly an agenda that I've written for this administration. It's proposed for community changes and improvements. It's a plan, much of which is based on several factors. A lot of that is volunteerism and adequate funds in the budget, of course, which you mentioned earlier. I'll print off a copy of the information for your review. This will also be made on the website made available on the website for community download and review. To be short with respect to time, it's a checklist of ideas for community improvement, some new and some old. To execute these ideas, some dedication is required. For example, again, volunteerism, communication, action, and engagement between board and community, plus a fundamental shift in thinking. And what do I mean by that? I alluded to it earlier when I said that this is our community. Okay? The board is at your service. This idea that it's the board and then it's the community, and sometimes we fight and sometimes we don't. Healthy debate is always invited, but for the better part, we are also the community. We live in this community. So community rising affects all of us. And so my approach has been to approach the community regarding things like covenants and everything else we've spoken about to get your feedback and your opinion moving forward. Again, we're at your service. We get direction from you in many cases, especially when it involves matters outside of our fiduciary responsibility. We're going to do what needs to be done, but my position is that we can actually do more with your input. Our subdivision is just over 10 years old. Fairington Farm is a wonderful subdivision with unrealized potential. Despite some minimal challenges, now the questions posed to you as homeowners are, what kind of community do we want to have and maintain? Are we willing to face those challenges and work towards defining and building the community we want to see? Please review the document that I provide for you at this meeting. For those watching, please download the document from the website and review it. Any questions? And I'm not going to go into that for time's sake because it's a multi-page document, but you have a copy of that. Any questions involving that? Okay, I'm going to skip right along. As we mentioned earlier, full disclosure reporting of financials. Let me read to that topic. This is one of the changes mentioned as part of Project Community Rising. Within our covenants, it states, and I'm paraphrasing, every homeowner has a right to review financial reporting and other records relating to the fiduciary responsibility of the board. Some have taken advantage of that in the past as a right to that information, while most have not. As of April 1st, again, we will begin making the general ledger and other documents accessible by request via website. You can use the contact page for this request. And the reason why I'm directing you to the contact page as opposed to just making it available online is because it is sensitive information. We don't need the world taking a look at that type of documentation. About 20% of the homeowners in our community have experienced receiving warning letters or being fined for various covenant violations. Code enforcement is a major priority in our community moving forward in 2015. We want you to all receive the same reporting from AMG the board does on this matter. The code violations report will also be made available as part of this full disclosure package. So you'll get a chance to see financials, and you'll get a chance to see a list of the homes and information as to where they are in the finance process. So you get to see the same information we do. The reason why I'm making this an initiative is because I've gotten feedback from folks that say, well, you guys don't do enough in terms of covenant enforcement. And then I got another group of folks who are getting $2,000 bills because they have chosen not to follow the covenants. I like to put you all in the same room and exchange ideas. But moving forward in 2015, we are going to enforce the covenants like never before. I just want to make that clear. Any questions regarding that? Okay, I'm going to move on. The next thing on the agenda is member at large and secretary board vacancies. As I mentioned before, volunteerism. If you want to sign up, by all means, to fill those positions. That's all there is to it as it pertains to that. Neighborhood watch, same situation. Currently, we are in need of a volunteer committee leader and co-lead. We had a gentleman who just moved to the neighborhood, and he's agreed, Elijah, he's agreed to sign up. I know, is it Mr. Ferguson? Yes, I know you signed up a while ago. In the past, and let me just read from here from the script. I'm aware that last year there were individuals who were interested in the Neighborhood Watch program. As you know, our board has undergone personnel changes resulting in the inability to fill and interview those possible volunteers. I'm going to take time to personally interview any volunteer who wants to sign up. Please reach out to me again after this meeting. Okay, Neighborhood Watch is definitely an initiative. It's part of Community Rising. It's something that's on the board, and it's something that we need to spend some attention forming and bring an order to, so that we can have that fully implemented in the community. Any questions involving that?
If you previously submitted your interest and your name, I still have those names, those contact numbers, so you don't have to resubmit those.
Move forward. So the next thing is that every community meeting moving forward will have a review of draft policy. Okay, you're holding that policy in your hand right now. How this process will work, in the interest of time, and because that policy is 5 to 6 pages long, depending on which copy you got, is the board will give copies of a new policy at every meeting. You as a meeting attendee will have a certain amount of time to review the policy and suggest changes via contact with the board, or a deadline will be announced for you to place your suggestions in the suggestion box, or you can email them. But either way, there will be a deadline announced for feedback from you on whatever policy is submitted. So take the booklet home, call it a booklet because it's 6 pages long, review it, take a look at it, get back to the board as far as what you like and don't like. The current policy, which you should got a copy of, is for policy for violation appeals process. The deadline to review this policy and submit suggestions, concerns, or changes is set for April 30th. Okay? That gives you more than 30 days time to take a look at it and get back to us as far as what you like and don't like. You can submit changes via website, contact page, suggestion box in the front of the community, or even request a meeting, which is another aspect of Community Rising, which you'll see that once you review that. Either way, this is engagement. The lines of communication are open as always, and we're open for discussion on the matter. Right now, even as this policy for violation of appeals process is not yet permanent and will remain open to the community for discussion, this is right now an active process the board has agreed upon moving forward. So even though we're using this process now, and of course it would be good to test it out, which is why we started to use it, we're still open to feedback, at least for the next 30 days. So definitely take a look at that and get back to someone on the board. We're going to move forward with new business. And this is pretty much simple stuff. Your annual assessments are, they've been due. To the point, annual assessments, they're due. Thank you to all those who have made payments already. For those who have not, please remit payment as soon as you avoid late fees. It's pretty much nothing to say on that. Covenant enforcement, again, by demand. Covenant code enforcement is a major priority moving forward. Again, I've spoken to plenty of folks in the community that say you guys don't do enough. Well, that's what that policy change is about. That is a direct response to the comment that the board doesn't do enough concerning covenant enforcement. So please take a look at that and get back to us. Oh, and just so you know, and I'm going to actually go into the fines process briefly. So the way AMG works, you get 3 warning letters every 30 days. Okay, so you've got 90 days to resolve the issue, which is plenty of time for anybody to resolve the issue. Okay, if there's hardship or whatever, by all means, get in contact with the board, and maybe we can work out something. But for the better part, the covenants will be enforced. Okay, so you get 3 warning letters. Plenty of time to fix the problem. Okay, if you still choose not to fix the problem after the 3rd warning letter, you probably won't get a letter for about another 45 days. And when you get that letter, it's an accumulated fine of $25 per day per violation. Okay? Now what we've heard from the community is I didn't pay attention to the warning letters essentially, and so I thought that it's like they thought that the problem went away. And so what I've done is I basically make an effort to communicate our courtesy between that window of time when the homeowner in violation is building up a fine and say, hey, look, I'm going to mail this out to you and tell you what's about to happen. This is a pre-fine letter so that you know it's $25 a day per violation. It's on orange paper. I might put it on red paper. Maybe they'll remember it. Either way, me personally, I feel like we should have to do this. I feel like 3 letters are enough. But just in case, here's the 4th letter. And after that, you get the fine. And after that, if you still don't pay and you want to appeal the fine, then you got to go through that process, which is on the policy draft, which you have a copy of.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if you ignore all that completely? What then?
That's when we have
$6,000 for it.
Yes. And we spend, in the past few years, we spent $1,200 on retainer and haven't really litigated anything. That's going to change this year. In fact, we have litigation going on right now for a homeowner who refuses to pay homeowners association fees since 2012. And so that's going on right now. Okay. If you're not up to date with your homeowners association fees, please bring them up to date. If you have problems doing that, contact the board. In the past, administrations, because of the recession, folks were extended some leeway to catch up. We're not exactly in a recession anymore. And I know I don't dictate what happens with your pocketbook, but I have to dictate what happens with our community. And I think $195 is a small price to pay towards a homeowners association dues, especially when most dues are around $300, $350 for communities with no amenities. So again, we're a 10-year-old community. We haven't changed the homeowners association dues amount. It's been a $195 since day one. Okay? Folks who moved in the community, they knew what it was when they moved in. It's mandatory. It's time for us to mature as a community, own up to our responsibilities, take care of our homes the way it's supposed to be taken care of, and move forward. Because I can't move us to a point in time when we have Fairington Farms Day because there's no funds in our account because folks aren't paying their homeowners association dues. We can't have special events and do different things like what I see happening in other communities where other HOAs, such as parts of Stonecrest, and we talked about having a civics organization. We can't move forward if we're still dealing with just basic issues like lack of funds due to homeowners association dues not being paid. So this is one of the things that is on our top priority to address. Any questions involving that?
And our overall goal is to not spend any of those funds for legal expenses. It would be great for us to get, first to cooperate as a community and end up having that whole $6,000 just be a surplus at the end of the year. I mean, that would be great. But, we do want to respect the wishes of the members of the community who have voiced their, desire to have those things. It's not something we get any personal joy out of, or would like to see our money spent on. If we can help it. All right, so, any questions on that? Yes.
Since you said Stonecrest gonna have their own little city up there,
Yeah.
and we gonna be included.
About to go into that. Oh, yeah. Our community is right smack dead in what would be a city of Stonecrest. I'm actually on the board for Stonecrest City. I've been working with them for the past 3 years. Okay. The latest news on that, and I'm paraphrasing, is right now our Senate bill is in the House being reviewed. Last week it passed the Senate 45-1, so one person voted against it. Everyone who's part of the Stonecrest City Alliance is feeling pretty confident that the House will approve the bill. Okay. Right now there are a bunch of cityhood bills last week that are pretty much in the House and being looked at. So I'm pretty confident moving forward. After it passes the House, then it goes to Governor Deal. And then from Governor Deal, we get a referendum vote, where you get a chance to go to the polls and vote in favor of or not. I'm asking our community, first of all, this is good for us, this is what I'm working for. I work in and outside this community tirelessly to make this area better. Please vote for it. Yes?
And what are the advantages?
I don't want to take up time for this meeting because this is Fairington Farms business, but one of the things that I want to advise everybody is to go to the Stonecrest City Alliance site or do stonecrestcity.com, which is, I'm also responsible for that site and the communications for that organization as well. So go there and sign up and you'll be tapped into their information just like you are tapped into Fairington Farms information. Any other questions?
So actually, if they change us to the city of Stonecrest, city of Stonecrest has to pay taxes, right?
Well, we all pay taxes.
Right.
We'll just
What I'm saying is, it's just, we can't collect the $195.
What do you mean you can't? You talking about the homeowners?
Right.
What you talking about?
I'm talking about the $195. I personally, and everybody can agree to disagree, I'm against the Stonecrest city.
You and I are gonna talk.
We can agree to disagree, I told you that the other day.
Change your mind later on. But I want to stay on topic because we're almost at a close, but we'll talk later. So I'm also on the board as vice president for Homeowners United. I'm serving under George Turner. As you know, Homeowners United is behind the effort to fight rezoning of the land from R75 to R100 in the area across. So again, I'm working in and outside of the community for our benefit. Right now, the status is that the land is no longer for sale, but that doesn't mean that the rezoning issue won't come up again. In other words, even though the land is not for sale, there can still be another buyer to come along and want to rezone that land. And I think they're banking on us not paying attention. Okay, so to go on the offensive, Homeowners United is seeking an application for land use of green space for that area. So that the county, let me back up a little bit, the county has a certain allocation of money for green space. Because a lot of us don't know about it, we don't request it, okay? And so what George has decided and what the group has decided also is to seek application for green space usage for that land. Okay, green space can be used for parks. We only got like Brownsville is the only recreational park here. We can have that across the street. We can have just a trail. It could be anything. But the important thing is to get control of that land because we don't have $2.2 million, which is what it costs to claim it, buy it. So green space is the next best thing. Okay? Again, if you have any questions involving that,
There's a dress, I think they were here last time,